Hi everyone, it's 216 Papa Bravo. Today we're going to talk about ham radio and what that means as far as prepping goes. If you're into any kind of prepping, you know that communications is one of the most vital aspects, other than survival, of gleaning information. I first got into communications many years ago as CB radio. Talked to several people, across doing driving around and stuff, and it was kind of fun, and kind of let that go. And since I've been kind of getting into this prepping thing, I decided to buy a couple of handy talkies. Well, I got myself a couple of these guys. They're Oshan or Woshan, whichever you prefer to say it. Handy talkies. They live on. These are two band radios. They're 2 meter and 70 centimeter, or roughly 144 megahertz and 440 megahertz. And since I got those, I kind of got into the aspect of wanting to do it right. So I started with, after I got that, I got one of these. Just to get into all the various things that ham radio offers, I wanted to learn about the way it worked, the way it happened. And this book's very informative. It has a lot of chapters in it from scratch of how to get your license, how to apply for it, taking the exam, hamming it up, how to get in the air, all the way up to building your own ham shack, or what we call a ham shack, and which basically is having a radio. So I wasn't a ham, I didn't have a license, so I decided to go and take the test. I went to a website called the American Radio Relay League, and they have an exam that you can take. And you can take this at most venues around the area. There's several places that they have these. They test every so often. I mean, ours does it twice a year or 3 times a year, I believe, our local club here. You can study up. There's a great website to study for the test if you decide to do that. It is called Merry Viking at YouTube. I should say .com. It's Merry Viking at YouTube. So if you want to get interested in this, you want to find out about how to take the test, the questions are not that difficult. It is not a difficult test. They do not require Morse code knowledge anymore. And you can take the test for what they call a technician's license. There's 3 classes now. They have technicians, general, and expert. The technician class allows you to do broadcast on several different bands, but primarily the 2 meter 70 centimeter band. And when you take your test, you get you one of these guys. This is the official license I got for my radio. Takes about 12 to 14 days after you take your test to actually get it in the mail. The local radio club usually takes care of all the paperwork for you. It depends on the club you're with. Some of them do, some don't. They mail it in for you, do all the paperwork to get it into the FCC, who then grants you the license for 10 years. So you have a license for 10 years. Now, some people like that, that you're licensed, that you're legal, that you can do all this stuff. Some people also feel that it's, you're, again, putting yourself in the government's hands because they now know you have a radio and all that kind of good stuff. I'll tell you that for me, it didn't bother me. I mean, I've got so many licenses, it doesn't matter. As far as, like driver's license, my business license, and all this other stuff I do, I'm licensed out. So another license, no big deal. You need basically a technician license to work. And I'll show you a band plan here. This guy here is kind of complicated, but basically you need to have a ham license to work the 2 meter band, which is 144 megahertz. The 222 megahertz band, and this what they call a 70 centimeter band. I will tell you that most handy talkies and a lot of the radios are for 2 meter and 70 centimeter. And within those bands, they have several breakdowns. I'll just show you this one here, kind of a cheat sheet. It shows all the different areas that you can use for either satellite, digital, experimental, simplex, weak signal, or FM repeaters. And FM repeaters is where it's kind of at. The idea being that you can use a handy talkie like this that only puts out 5 watts, okay, and hit a repeater that's within 5 miles of you, that's high up on a mountain, maybe even 10 in some cases, and actually get your signal repeated at great strength within a 100-mile radius of where you're at. Again, depending on the height of the radio, the repeater, and the height of everything else. So you can see that you can get a great distance without having a lot of radio. So again, the most popular 2 bands are the VHF band, or 2-meter band, and the UHF, which is a high band, the 70-centimeter band. A lot of radios, like I said before, have dual coverage. They cover both the high band and low band, the VHF, UHF bands. But they also allow you to receive only, not transmit, but receive only on a wide variety of bands. This particular radio allows me to receive from 108 megahertz, which is the aircraft band, all the way through 99.99 megahertz, which is up in the television band. So I can receive almost everything except for cell phones. You can't get those, but they're all digital now, so you couldn't get it anyway. But besides the fact that you can get almost everything, that includes GMRS, MRS, some government bands, a lot of the stuff that's commercially available. If you know the right frequency, you can monitor that. Now again, you can only transmit on the 144 band and the 440 band. So how much do you want to spend on this? Well, if you get into it, a basic handy talkie, and this is a Wuxan or Oshan. The Bofang radio started about $55 or $60. This one's about $150. Up to you can get the Yeasu Handhelds, which are about $400 for some of their better ones. This is called a handy talkie. Handy talkie here. This one's called a mobile. They also make base stations, which are big, larger boxes that do more also, so you can do that. So you can spend a lot of money on this stuff if you want to. You can get a basic station going, a base station or home station, using a mobile like this for around, I'd say $250 to $300. You need a power supply, radio, and an antenna. Just a basic antenna, that's all you need for most local transmissions. So you can go on and on about this stuff. I'll leave it to the experts. They know a lot more about this stuff than I do. If you have a local radio club, there are lots of what they call Elmers, which are basically people, hams that have been in the business, in the hobby for a long time. They understand the hobby, and they're able to help you with specifics about their specialties. Some guys specialize in antennas, some guys specialize in radios, some guys specialize in how to set up your station, how to program. I mean, you can go on and on and on. These folks are called Elmers, and they help you out quite a bit. So to get to understand how to use these things, they have a manual. Again, we talked about the manual. A lot of information in here. These radios can do a lot. So if you want to have a radio that's very complex or very simple, the basic radios all work the same as far as receiving and transmitting on the bands. So it's a matter of programming the things you want to do and then forgetting the stuff you don't want to do. For me, this particular radio, I like the fact that I can easily read the readout on this. This is a TFT touch display. And I'll show you. You can go to here, and you can see that I can stop the scan. I can start the scan just by touching the screen. I don't have to have a special button for it. So I wanted to have something I could easily read, I could understand. It had a separate, what they call the head, this part here. This is the head. The main transmitter part is this part back here. It allows you to mount it anywhere if you're going mobile and truly mobile in a car, or you can also have it hidden from view if you want to build something for yourself to make it look really nice. You can hide the big boxes and actually just see this and the speaker if you want to do that. So let's talk about the FTM-400DR, which is what this is made by Yeasu. Again, the setup was pretty easy on this, getting it out of the box, a matter of plugging in a few cords. This is a cord that goes from the unit to the head. It has a plug-in for the microphone. It has an antenna jack in the back, which is that. A power cord, and then if you want to have an external speaker, you can use this. They have a plug-in for that. It also has a memory slot, and then it also has a connection if you want to connect to a PC and program that way. So let's talk about how to program these guys. Now, some of these things, like the Oshan, they do have a program that comes with it. I will tell you, it's not very reliable. I can get it to work sometimes. They do. There's a company out there, I can't remember the name of it, that makes a special cord and program, much like Excel, that allows you to input all your variables into this. And by variables, I mean the things you need to make it work. For this particular radio, I've made a little programming sequence. Are you going to read that or not? Basically, the input for listening. If you wanted to listen to a channel, I need to have the frequency input, any shift required for the station. Now, again, I'm kind of getting complicated here, but if you want to use the repeater, there's an offset, a shift, which way it goes, and all that kind of thing. So you have a shift, an offset, what they call a PL tone, or a CT-CSS tone, which is for your transmit or receive if needed, and then how to put it in the memory. So that's a step you have to take for one of these to make one program work. This one's about the same. Again, I've made a little list here. I need to be in a VFO mode, which is your variable frequency mode, so I can actually tune a channel. I'll go ahead and do this while we're doing this. So say I wanted to use this bottom one here. Currently it's set up to listen to our local sheriff's department. Okay, so let's say I wanted to program this bottom channel here, this bottom band, for a particular frequency, and we'll use a local one called KB6HWZ. It's 44950. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to VFO mode. Okay. I'm going to actually go here rather than that. I'm going to punch in 440. What did I say? 950. 950. Enter. Okay, so now I've got the frequency I want entered in there. I'm going to go back and hold this for 2 seconds. The F button here, the function button, for 2 seconds. And it should bring up that mode right here, which is my memory mode. Okay, so I've got it in this place I want it to be in this particular memory bank. So 44095, it's going to transmit on +5 megahertz, which is automatically programmed into the machine. One thing nice about this particular one, it gives you the offset automatically in there. There's some exceptions you have to change, but it does take care of that for you. And I'm going to press F again to get out of that, and it should put it into memory. So now we got channel 4 is now 44950. Now if I want to name this particular channel, I'm going to push this VM for 2 seconds down here on the screen. F for 2 seconds. Select memory. Press F2 for 2.
Well, depending on the footprint of the repeater,
enter name. Try this again. KB 6 HWZ. And you can attribute any name you want to these things. I'm going to touch enter. Touch back. Okay, you see it has the station channel name and then the frequency here. Now for me, I like to have the frequency bigger than the name, so I'm going to touch the memory button on the setup menu, change that to small, touch back. Okay, then we can go right into the tone if it needs one. This one does need by signal. And we're going to dial in 131.8. And the nice thing about this, you can tap this. 131.8, it's right in there. We're going to push back. And we're going to press our transmit power. We're going to press F once. And it can be anywhere from low to high. They have medium and a high power. I like to do low because these are all local transmitters. And once that's set, there it is. And again, you have a volume control, which is there. If you push the squelch button, it turns it to squelch. You can adjust the amount, the amount of squelch it has. Over here, sorry. The level of squelch you want to have is none, up to full on, if you don't want to get too much noise. And it'll automatically go back to regular. You can mute the channel. You can get a scope on that particular channel. See what's happening on that list, if there's anything, which in this case there's nothing. So let me get out of that and show you on this one. I'll go touch that one to get to the upper channel. Scope that, and you can see the amount of activity in that particular channel, which nobody's talking right now. Right when you don't want to. Anyway, so just by simply touching channels, you can make it an active to change if you want to change a channel, or you can come back and do that with it. Just touch it to make it work. Alright, the last thing I want to cover is some of the things I do like about this and things I don't like about it. First thing I do like about it, I like the fact that the TFT display is readable. It's very legible. The unit is very compact and small. I like that. It allows me to plug in an external speaker, and if I want to change to a regular mic that doesn't have all this stuff on it, I can change that by simply unplugging this one and plug another one in. Most of the Yeasus have that feature. I think most radios have that feature. You can just change. They do have a mic that doesn't come with all the buttons and knobs on it. This has several different settings you can do. You can change the channel just by rolling it up. You can change the frequency. You can actually type in the frequency you want to have. There's a lot of things you can do in different modes. So I do like most of that. I don't really care for the mounting system they have for this head. It comes with a single little bracket that is very, just stamped out metal, bent up. It does give you some adjustments as far as the way it stands, and you can mount this, permanently mount it down to something, a piece of wood or whatever. It doesn't give you much flexibility for hanging it from the top. There's not enough room to hang it. I don't think the other way. So it's got to be on some kind of a desk or a platform or something if you wanted to build a piece of wood or something to mount this on. That would be one way to do it. In fact, that's what I'm going to do with mine. I've got a piece of wood that's about that wide, about an inch thick, and I'm going to mount the two screws back here, mount the unit behind it, like right here, and then put the speaker on top of that. So it'll be all one compact little unit. So, again, a lot of things you can do with that. Very happy with the radio. I will mention again that Ham Radio Outlet got this to me in 1 day after I ordered it. So I was really impressed with their service, and I want to thank them for not connected with them anyway, but I want to thank them for being so prompt and courteous and getting their stuff out. So that's about it for now. If you guys have any questions or comments you want to leave about the radio or how it's programmed or whatever, I'll do what I can to answer it. I'm still learning the radio, obviously. Once I get things programmed in there all the way I want it, it'll be quite the radio. Again, you can listen to anywhere from airband up to television just about. So it covers a wide variety of things you can receive on. But again, you're only transmitting on these two bands. So thanks for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it if you subscribe and like the channel. If you like the video, press like right below there. And if you have any comments, put them right down there. I sure appreciate it. This is 216 Papa Bravo, signing out. See ya.